or technology or system, server, or customer data.
If they're on the board of directors and have access to all your data from the standpoint of being an investor,
exactly.
How do you answer that question like that?
The bylaws were changed in the filing that was filed with the SEC on November 2021, and they basically limit who has access to data, including directors.
Hangout game. Crypto Crane here, and there's no live stream tonight, so I'm just going to do a little bit of news. We're going to look at a little bit of crypto bubbles, a little Twitter news, and then we'll call it a night. So no live stream because it's Father's Day, and a happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And I hope you're enjoying your weekend on this sunny Father's Day. Where I am, it is 100 and something degrees, so it is hot as hell. Yeah, so AC is on, and here in Texas, you must have AC or it is detrimental to your life. No AC, you are chancing to death. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the crypto bubbles, and we'll go ahead and take a look at the crypto bubbles here. And as you can see, you have a little bit of green, a little bit of red, about half and half. You have Dash, Clay, IMX, PLS, ICP, Loon C, Theta, CFX, FXS, BSV, Sand, Litecoin, Nexo, Gala, USD, BNB, Atom, Pepe, Tome, TRX, Sol, STX, Dot, XLM, Maker, Ship, ETH, TON, Filecoin, GSD, ING, HT, all in the green. As you can see, most of them started to turn red, just like that. You see a lot of red now. Markets are turning red, as you can see. Bitcoin must be tanking a little bit. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the news. Quick video here. We have Render. Render here integrates with Apple and core product moves to Solana. All right, so Render is a project by Otoy's founder Jules Orbeck, which has recently made headlines by integrating with Apple through Octane X, an app available for M1 and M2 iPads, and moving to the Solana blockchain. This integration with Apple and the expansion to Solana have led to a significant spike in the price token. Now, Render is a coin. In order to have the metaverse, you have to render it. In order to have these things, virtual reality, etc., it has to be rendered. So it's something that you might want to do, due diligence and research into the Render token, Render coin. I think we did a video on Render in our Coin Hunters. Go in and check our playlist, our Coin Hunters playlist, and you can see all the deep dives that we did into all the coins. All right. So what is Octane X? Octane X is bringing Octane Render to iPads on December 27th. Otoy launched Octane X, essentially the smartphone version of Octane Render, available as a free download for the iPads M1 and M2. The Apple iStore preview describes Octane X as enabling real-time photorealistic 3D rendering fast. The app was also featured in one of Apple's YouTube videos. As you can see, the YouTube video right here, it has the render button, render, and the price was $1.98. All right, so Render is also moving to Solana. It says in addition to the integration with Apple, Render Network recently moved its core product to the Solana blockchain. Another thing crypto you might want to do your research in. Render has partnerships with Apple, and now it is moving along with to the Solana blockchain. So you might want to look into those things. Do your own research, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, as always. The Render community approved the network's expansion to the Solana blockchain, which offers impressive speed without compromising security. This move will likely further boost the adoption and value of Render to the market, and I agree. All right, next up, we have the government backdooring, and the prosecution is quietly dropping 5 charges against the Democrat Macadona Sam Bankman-Fried of the defunct and failed FTX. Federal prosecutors have pushed back 5 charges against disgraced cryptocurrency mogul and Democrat mega donor Sam Bankman-Fried, who was arrested after the collapse of his cryptocurrency exchange FTX. Bankman-Fried, who is commonly referred to as SBF, was arrested late last year and charged with 8 federal accounts. Additional charges include conspiracy to commit wire fraud and campaign finance violations. Additionally, over $8 billion of FTX customer deposits were found to be missing. So what did the prosecutors say? What's the reasoning of why they are dropping the charges? Prosecutors have alleged that Bankman-Fried took billions from customers for personal use including luxury real estate and political donations. The scheme fell apart when the cryptocurrency market collapsed last year, officials said. In January, an attorney for FTX testified that SBF used a secret backdoor to launder money to Alameda Research and FTX sister company Caroline Ellison, the former girlfriend of SBF and CEO of Alameda Research, cut a deal with prosecutors in which she admitted that the couple conspired to mislead FTX customers and investors. On Thursday, federal prosecutors in New York offered to sever 5 additional charges against Sam Bankman-Fried if the judge agrees to try him on those charges later. The 5 additional charges were added after Bankman-Fried was extradited from the Bahamas, where his cryptocurrency exchange was headquartered. The withdrawal charges include fraud relating to a scheme where SBF allegedly created a fake company with no staff to get around being barred from a California bank account, and a bribery conspiracy charge alleging that he spent $40 million trying to influence a Chinese government official. And here's the news from Teddy Scheffler. Says news of the Sam Bankman-Fried case. Prosecutors at the Southern District of New York agreed to sever 5 charges from his planned October trial of SBF. The government asked for those charges to be tried separately from the first quarter. All right. Next up, we have J.P. Morgan, the dirty dogs they are, says Ethereum could be put into another category by U.S. Congress. Now, all the information that's been coming out here about these Hinman emails and everything about how Ethereum got a free pass and how it actually is a security, which we told you last November in our video, the EEA, Ethereum is centralized. Now all this stuff is coming out, and everybody is starting to see that it is centralized and that it is backed heavily by the bankers. You know, the EEA is the bankers, JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, all of them are into the EEA, and that is the Ethereum Enterprise Alliance, which basically tells Vitalik what to do. Okay, so it is centralized, and the bankers control it. So how else would they say that United States Congress could put it in other category? Why? Because they pay the United States congressmen through political donations, and they have something over their head. So it says, quick take. U.S. lawmakers could put Ether into a new category to avoid classifying it as a security to protect investors, according to J.P. Morgan strategists. Now, these investors that they're talking about J.P. Morgan, Wells Fargo, and the like, and Wall Street itself. Okay, it's not the everyday investor. The comments come after the release of the Hinman documents earlier this week. Now, notice that it took the Hinman documents for him to say that it may be put in the other category. It's because they have big money invested into it, and they are trying, and that is the thing, the reason why Ethereum has been pushed and became one of the dominant chains or one of the top 3 chains is because Wall Street and the bankers have flooded the EEA and took over that and flooded the Ethereum blockchain. It says the United States Congress could either simply classify ETH in the same commodity category as Bitcoin or put it into a new other category with less burdensome regulations and securities, according to JP Morgan strategists. According to JP Morgan strategists, it is possible that a new other category is introduced specific to Ethereum and other cryptocurrencies that are decentralized through cryptocurrencies, decentralizing of cryptocurrencies to avoid being designated as securities. JP Morgan strategists, led by Nicholas, can't say that name, wrote in a note on Thursday, this other category that would involve more restrictions and investor protections than currently envisioned for commodities, but less erroneous than those required for securities. Now, the Hinman documents, the infamous Hinman documents. JP Morgan comments come after some U.S. Securities and Exchange officials questioned key details of a 2018 speech that said ETH isn't a security in documents released earlier this week as part of an ongoing enforcement lawsuit against Ripple Labs by the SEC. The speech was given by Bill Hinman, then director of the SEC's Division of Corporate Finance, where he had mentioned that ETH is not a security, with Ethereum being sufficiently decentralized blockchain network. Some SEC officials at the time had brought up concerns on the ETH mentioned in comments in the draft speech. The release document showed one comment, for instance, said that the fact that the tokens on a sufficiently decentralized network are no longer securities creates a regulatory gap. And I agree, and this is why XRP will win the case, and this is why other cryptocurrencies will win the case as well. Next up, we have economist Peter Schiff says the U.S. dollar decline will be far greater than Yellen warns. Fed Chair Powell clearly warned about financial crisis. Economist and gold bug Peter Schiff issued more warnings about the U.S. economy, the banking system, and the U.S. dollar in several tweets this week. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen warned during her testimony before the House Financial Services Committee on Thursday that there would be a slow decline in the U.S. dollar as the global reserve currency, emphasizing concerns that sanctions imposed by the U.S. have motivated a number of countries to look for USD alternatives. She cautioned that the decline in U.S. dominance is something we have to accept. Janet Yellen warned Americans to expect a decline in the dollar's share of central bank reserves, but the decline will be far greater than she thinks as a result of both dollar depreciation and central bank selling. This portends a significant decline in our standard of living. We have too much debt, Schiff stressed in a follow-up tweet stating that our budget and trade deficits are much larger than any other nation. BRICS, 30 countries participate to ditch the dollar, US dollar as global reserve currency. A growing number of countries are coming forward to join BRICS and accept the new currency for global trade. The South African ambassador, Anil Suklau, hinted that the alliance could expand this year, becoming BRICS Plus. The move could add pressure on the U.S. dollar as developing nations would end their reliance on the greenback. The global financial order could tilt from the west to the east, creating a new multipolar economy. According to the latest report, the BRICS alliance has formally received applications from 25 countries to join the bloc. The 25 nations that expressed their interest to join are Afghanistan, Algeria, Argentina, Bahrain, Bangladesh, Belarus, Egypt, Indonesia, Iran, Kazakhstan, Mexico, Nicaragua, Nigeria, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Senegal, Sudan, Syria, the United Arab Emirates, Thailand, Tunisia, Turkey, Uruguay, Venezuela, and Zimbabwe. The list includes oil-rich nations that send millions of barrels of oil and gas to the U.S. and to Europe. They stand at a pivotal point and could demand payment with BRICS currency and not the U.S. dollar. And that will be big, and when that happens, you'll see cryptocurrency and everything fly. Now, up next, we have the Twitter news. Okay, we have Twitter news here. We have Elon Musk. He is shadow banning and banning accounts that he deems to be promoting scams. Okay, and we had one here. Elon called Bob a scam coin. And as you can see, when he did that, the price of Bob coin dropped down and it tanked. And here is the tweet. This sure looks like a scam crypto account. If so, it will be suspended. And this was the explained Bob. Okay, and as you can see, it fell after he tweeted that, right? So next up, we have let's see here. Come on. Well, my computer doesn't want to add up with me, so I guess we won't do that much Twitter news we do right here. But we did have this video here for Brad Garlinghouse where he said
court orders
to his people. So we'll start it all over.
Hi,
Play it for
I'm
you.
Brad Garlinghouse. As many of you know, I don't often make videos like this, but then again, not every week has been like this one. A few days ago, after 2 years, 7 court orders, and over $100 million in legal bills, the Hinman speech documents, including internal SEC emails and comments leading up to this now infamous 2018 speech, they've finally been unsealed. Hinman's speech created new factors to determine if a token becomes sufficiently decentralized to no longer be considered a security.
I agree.
At best, these documents show that senior officials at the SEC couldn't agree on the law and told Bill Hinman directly he would confuse the public even more about the rules for crypto.
Now that's special other category.
They show that Hinman deliberately ignored the law, and he tried to create new laws, something only Congress can do. And while he was a public servant, Hinman received millions of dollars of payments from his law firm, which was part of an alliance with others that had a vested interest in this speech. This speech isn't about any one token or any one blockchain. This is about showing the extent to which the SEC has relentlessly pursued enforcement actions against crypto players while professing fake open arms and calls to come in and register, all the while lying about their so-called guidance. As some of you may know, Ripple spent years proactively engaging with the SEC. I personally met with Jay Clayton and Bill Hinman with no lawyer present. Why would I need a lawyer if we were all coming together in good faith? We answered every question they had, and not once did they suggest to me that XRP was a security. We were fully transparent, not knowing they would then use this information against us. The SEC hit us with a surprise Wells notice saying they were considering suing us for breaking securities laws and still refused to provide specifics. To those that have recently been hit with their own Wells notices and lawsuits, this likely sounds all too familiar. When the lawsuit did drop against us, days before Christmas, a very Grinch-like touch, they made it personal. They sued Chris Larson and they sued myself, alleging we should have known all along that XRP was a security. You can now see plain as day, they couldn't even agree amongst themselves. And to me, it still seems like they can't. What we saw play out in our case is exactly what's still happening. The SEC is looking to kill crypto innovation in the United States, and its current chair, an unelected bureaucrat, I might add, is weaponizing the lack of regulatory clarity to exert jurisdiction over the entire crypto space. This is the definition of putting politics over people. It's the pursuit of power over sound policy. The SEC tried to bully us into acquiescing. Thankfully, we have had the resources to fight back. And now we can all see what they've fought so hard to hide. They knowingly created confusion about the rules, and they used that confusion to regulate through enforcement. That's bad faith, plain and simple. Ultimately, as our lawsuit comes to a close, for so many others, it's just starting. The fight for clarity has to continue. I'm just going to conclude by saying to my colleagues here at Ripple, to my family, my friends, everyone who has supported us over the past 2.5 years, and certainly to the whole of the XRP Army, a very heartfelt and a very genuine thank you for that support.
And I agree. I definitely agree. Okay. Now let's see right here. Now we have here crypto playing phase. And this is exactly what's going on. Because they are playing phase. They're picking and choosing winners and losers. Okay. All right. Now we have here Max Baucus was nominated by Obama as U.S. Ambassador to China in 2013 and 2014. Baucus goes on to fund the Max Baucus Institute, which was heavily funded by Wayne Zhang. Binance hires Max Baucus as policy and government relations advisors, right? And so Binance is fighting back. They're hiring people to combat this rogue SEC. Now, let's hear what they have to say. Fox News.
The Chinese yuan for international payments instead of the dollar. Saudi Arabia is also in talks with Beijing to do the same thing. Speaking of Saudi Arabia, meanwhile, they're in talks with Iran as well to consider an economic alliance with China and Russia. And they can even be joining the BRIC countries, which is an acronym for these countries here, Brazil, Russia, India, China.
Now, this was for earlier, the earlier article that I told you about. I meant to play this there, so
what
we're
happens
getting it in now.
if our economy and the U.S. dollar are no longer the world's dominant
Now, all
currency?
these CBDCs
Former
are
Assistant
running
Treasury
on
Secretary and host
XRP
of the
Ripple.
Monica Crowley podcast,
This
Monica
is why it's
Crowley,
important that we
is
hear
here
this
to
right
weigh
here.
in. Monica, great to see you this morning.
All of their
Let's
central
start right
bank
there.
digital currencies
What
will run
happens if these
on
emerging
Ripple,
economies move away from the
XRP.
U.S. dollar towards the Chinese yuan?
So you only have that much. You have a little bit of time before that dollar crashes. You know, so a little bit of time to get your XRP before it goes live and the other nations' central bank digital currencies use it. Okay. Now this right here. Other news, we have Fed Now is going live July 1st, and this is the list of banks that are using Fed Now. All right, July 1st. See if your bank is on there. ACI Worldwide, Citizens Bank and Trust, Commerce Bank, CNB Bank and Trust, Citibank, you know, a couple other ones. Let's see. Cross River Bank, Corporate Central Bank, Corporate One, Fifth Bank, ePay Resources, G Bank, Heartland Bank, JP Morgan Chase, Path Forward, Pacific Coast Bankers Bank, Pelican Bank, People First Bank, Kroger, Juniper Bank, Netflix I saw on there, US Bank, Visa, Walmart, Wells Fargo, Ripple Labs, as you can see, there it goes, Ripple Labs, Regions Bank, etc. So several of the names on here should make your jaw drop. Like it says, ISO 2022 is a go for launch. So are you prepared? Did you load up on your ISO 22 tokens? And this is the Brad Garlinghouse video we already watched. And here we have
20% of it.
because see, before we start this video, the SEC has been playing dirty. They have a shell company called Prometheum that they have brought in front of Congress to testify and to say that Congress does not need to bring forth regulations, is that everything is fine. And so listen to this right here, testimony. This is this guy right here, Kaplan, but he is in bed with China, okay? And the Wang Zhang, institute or whatever, should I say? I forget whatever it's called. They are heavily invested into his company, and they are heavily invested or have heavily backdoor ties with Gensler and BlackRock, etc.
Mr. Kaplan, how much, what percentage of
This
your
is
company is
courtesy of
owned
Digital
by
Asset
a
Buy.
Chinese entity?
Digital asset
I think
investment.
approximately 20%.
20% of it. How much influence do they have over your company?
They have the same rights as other shareholders.
How much access do they have to intellectual property?
Wang Zheng has no access to any Prometheum code or technology or system, server, or customer data.
If they're on the board of directors and have access to all your data from the standpoint of being an investor,
Exactly.
how do you answer that question like that?
The bylaws were changed in the filing that was filed with the SEC on November 2021, and they basically limit who has access to data, including directors.
Okay, where is the data stored right now?
In the United States?
The third advantage is on the tech side.
Here it goes.
Prometheum's lead investor and technical co-founder is Shanghai Wanzheng Blockchain. And basically, we have 50 plus blockchain engineers working on the Prometheum project. Shanghai Wanzheng Blockchain is considered the preeminent force when it comes to blockchain engineering talent in the world, and they're really our partner. They're not a third-party service provider. They're a co-founder of this company.
As you can see,
their vice chairman, Dr.
China gets the back
Xiao,
door.
sits on our board, and we work with them hand in
financial
hand.
system.
And with their expertise, we've been able to rock and roll. And we're going to be demoing for FINRA, we anticipate, next month of our
FINRA.
ATS and our blockchain, which we hope will then lead to a quick approval. And
FINRA, huh? So this is the back door right here, and this is the only company that has the SEC approval to have an exchange and etc. and this and that. Go figure. Now, I had a little news here. You guys tell me what you think about this right here. This chart right here says when the gold ETF was approved right here, and the price of gold skyrocketed, right? So we know that BlackRock has pulled strings since Gary Gensler used to work for Goldman Sachs, and BlackRock owns majority of Goldman Sachs. That the Goldman Sachs has pulled that string, and they are going to get the first Bitcoin ETF. So that chart tells you what to expect, right? This here, I came across. This says looks like this is a look on chain. It appears that institutions are accumulating ARB. And we noticed that off-chain labs have accumulated 7.22 million ARB from Binance through multiple addresses in the past 7 days. So that's interesting. I wanted you to say right there. It says right here, it says, look, the institutions want our tokens. And that is exactly correct. Now, we have here Mr. Thursday, he said about crypto.
Which essentially attracted every scammer, huckster, and fly-by-night company that wanted to raise capital on a white paper in the
See, he's in China.
And what ended up happening is that a lot of investors were defrauded and basically lost their investment money to scammers. And as more and more people were losing this money, it forced the SEC to step in, the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Hucksters, fraudsters, scam artists,
Exactly.
Ponzi
You, Gary,
schemes.
you and the people that you're picking. As you can see, he's not lying. The people that he's picking, exactly. It says right here, hidden gem in the BlackRock ETF filing. The sponsor will use its discretion to determine which network should be considered the appropriate network. There is no guarantee that the sponsor will choose the digital asset that is ultimately the most valuable fork. Right? So it's talking about Bitcoin, etc. And it says in regards to BlackRock's ETF Bitcoin filing. Okay. All right. So that will be all for today's video. That's all that we have. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. And again, happy Father's Day to all my fathers out there. I hope you enjoyed it and received lots of love from your sons and daughters and children and great-grandchildren. All right, and until the next video, this is Crypto Crane signing out. And before we go, those who are listening to us on the Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, what else we have? Pandora. You can enter in the $50 Bitcoin giveaway. All you have to do is get on YouTube, subscribe to the Crypto Hangout Network, leave a comment on the video, comment about what you thought about the video, and subscribe, hit the like or dislike button, share it with your friends and whatnot, and you will be eligible for the $50 giveaway. All right, until the next video, this is Crypto Crane signing out. Peace.